Microsoft defines Power BI as enterprise business intelligence tool that's easy to use and helps you gain deeper data insight. Let's just use an example of an Australian manufacturer that sells, manufactures and sells its products into Australian market, and then they sell it to Australian states and territories, and we have only two products, residential log and commercial log. Basically what I want to do, I want to show you that how to convert an Excel file with sales data like order date, name of product, estate, quantity and unit price, and also target sales and cost for each product. Let's say that we know an estimation of the cost for each, to a powerful tool like this that you can visualize data and have a better understanding of what's going on. Let's say that we are just compare this one, which is simply a list of data, and then to something like this that you can see the trend over time. Also, I can simply see that, let's see what's going on in New South Wales, what's going on in Victoria. You know that now I see that sales is increasing in Victoria, while if I choose Western Australia, it says it's going down. And also you can see that I have a map that you can see that the size of the bubbles are showing the amount of sales, and also you can see that quantity of products in a pie chart, and you can see that what percentage of your total sales belong to which product. And also if you can see the interaction that when I choose or change the state, as you can see that I can see that how much of the total products for that particular state belong to which type. And you see that they are interactive, and I can just see the total by clearing all selections, and that's the total view. Also here you can see that I can have some information about the target. As you might see here, we have the target sales for each state, and now I converted this one to this interesting view of the data that you can simply compare total sales with the target. And again here you can see that when I change the state, let's say Victoria, this is the target, and you see that I'm exceeding that. But for, let's say, Western Australia, the target is 5,000. Still I haven't reached to that. You can see that now how things can be changed and give me a better view of what's going on. Or here also I have a comparison between different states, and you can see it's obvious that Victoria is on the top and it's selling more. And also we have some information about the profit, the total profit, and also the profit that we make each month. Now I want to show you then how we can create something like this using this data set. The first step is importing data from Excel file to Power BI. Simply you need to just click on File and New, and then you need to click on Get Data. And then you can choose the type of file that you want to receive. Let's say that we want to receive it from an Excel file. Now this is the file that I have, sales data. I choose it. Then I want to just import all these sheets from sales target, total sales and cost. Now I have these tables and the fields for each, as you can see. Then what's important to understand that what happens in Power BI is you can see the relationship between these tables, which is very important to understand this link, because you know that when we talk about, let's say, there are some fields like product, then the product here has been used once, but it has been repeated a number of times here, or states here as well, that we have states here that has been repeated only once, but we have many times states in our sales table. Then we call this one as relational databases, that they have such a link, and you don't need to repeat, let's say, some information again. If I go back to, let's say, cost here and product, you see that I have the product here, I have the quantity, um, and I have the price. The price also here has been just repeated again and again, and it's like the cost, that it's fixed, that it doesn't change. For price, it might be a bit different. Price might change, but usually cost doesn't change much. Then if we have it in a separate table, we don't need to repeat it again as a separate column and then have repeat this one for a number of times. Imagine that if you have a really large database, it takes lots of space. Then what we can do, have it in a separate table and then define that link, and whenever that we want to just put them together, then we can do it using the tools that we have available here, which I will show you. But anyway, now the data is ready, and now we can just create the graphs as I showed you at the beginning. Now let me show you how we can create something like this in, let's say, even a minute. You simply need to choose the graph that you want to have. Let's see the trend first. I will just use the trend one. And it's as easy as just putting the value that you want, or just dragging that to the chart. Quantity is definitely the first one that we need, and then we want to have order date. Now the problem is we have one data point. What's going on? The problem is here that we have year and month, day. Then I just want to have it monthly, similar to what I had in the previous one. I just remove. Even if you keep date also would be helpful, because then it can show you, if you can just drill down and see based on the day as well. But let me again remove this one to make it simple. Now that's it, and now we have the trend. Now the value is the quantity, and you see automatically the sum has been chosen, means that it calculates the total quantity of cells for each month. Then the second one was, let's say that the map, we just choose this map, that, and then I need to have the state as well as quantity. That's it, that's finished. Now the third one was a pie chart. Just be careful when you have selected something and you choose something else, then it automatically does change, Then when you want to choose a new one, just click somewhere on the page and then click on the new one, like pie chart. Now we have a new pie chart, and you can just change the location easily. But for pie chart we need product and again quantity. Again, you see that it's so easy. Now we have almost all we had in this sample. You see that we created these three. Now this filter is again an interesting tool, and it's called a slicer. And then Again, if I click somewhere, now a slicer is here. We want to see that what should be the base for filtering data, and I just showed you that I want to do states. Now basically if I click on any state, all graphs will be updated accordingly. Yeah, you can see that now. I can see that what's going on in each state, and then also I can simply clear my selections and go back to where I was at the beginning. You see that that was very quick to create the first page. Now to create the second page, which I want to just do this right part of the page first. What I need to do, let's just start with total sales and target and see some new functions that we need to use. For having the total target and total sales, you see that this is the quantity, but if you want to just have the total quantity, what we can do is simply using a sum function as well. And then let me just show you a tool that we have here as measures. If you go to table tools, you see that we have some measures, and if we create a new measure, I can easily define total sales as, you know, that it's similar to what we do in Microsoft Excel, sum of, then we use the function of sum, and then we can see that quantity is here. Simply we add the quantity, and that's it. Now we have defined a new measure, and whenever that we want to call it, then we can simply drag this one to the page, and now it shows the total sales. Now because it's a graph, I want to change it to a number here as a card, you know that it's card. Then that's it. Now I have the total sales here. Now there are a few other things that I want to change to make it look like this one. Then let's just see what's here in terms of what are the options available for format. Then you can see that first I want to have a title, which change it to total sales, which is off now. I need to just drag this one to make it on. Then I can have total sales, and then on top, and then I can remove the other one and just put it in the middle, make it a bit bigger, the font size. That's it. Now also I don't want to have any background. Then category, exactly this total sales below the number, which I want to remove it. And yeah, now it looks like what we had. Now the other thing that we want to do is changing the color. Now it's 63. Now it's almost the same as my sample file. Now I want to create something similar for target then, and as you might have noticed, again should be easy. For sales target, we have a state and target, and now I want to have the total target. If you add what's the target for each state, if you add them all together, then it's going to be my target for the total target, I can say. Then I can just do the same. Let me call it total target, because now my target file just shows the target for each state only. Now again, I can use the same function. And you can see the left is the name of the table, and then what's in bracket is basically the field. And now we have sales target here. That's it. Now I have this function. Also, let me just show you that what we were doing in Excel. You know that if you wanted to have the total or the sum of the targets, you could just simply do the same, you know. It exactly does the same thing that we do here. Now let me go back to my file. Now I should have the same number that I showed you now in my Excel file. And yeah, again, when I just drag this one, it shows me as a bar chart. Now I can change it to card, which is just simply a number. As you can see, now I have the same number. Now again, I can just go and change the format. I don't want to have total target below that as a category. I want to have the title, which call it target basically. Now the color also would be good to be changed. Sorry, not the title. I can just keep the title as it is, and I will change the number later, the color of the number. I just put it in the middle only and change the size of the font to the same as total sales, and then they look to be comparable. That's good. And now for data label, I change the color now to pink. Now you see that I have exactly the same as what we have here. Now let's just go and see this one. It's a map, but it's a static map. It's just basically it's an image. The reason that I want to show you is to show you that necessarily you don't need to use, you can be creative and do different things. And this map is like static. It doesn't change like the map that we had in page 1. And the reason that I put this one as a static, because when I was to explain this one, I want to have a bigger picture, which is I don't want it to change all the time when I change the states. And that's the reason that I want to have a fixed figures here in this map, and I want to show you that how we create these. Now let's just go back and have an image of Australia here. Then simply we go to image, and then we simply need to choose an image that you can simply download from internet. I use the one which was free. Now if I choose this, now I have an image, and I can just put those figures here relatively easily by defining some functions, of course, which I will explain in a moment. You see that this total cell, with total cells, which was basically sales quantity. Now, when I want to have this one for only one state, then I need to do something a bit different. Basically, I want to have a filter, and then I need to use a different function, which I will show you. Now then I'm going to create a new measure similar to what we did for total sales and total target. Again, we have a new measure here. And now let's just call this one as total quantity for Western Australia first. I want to know that what would be this is the name of the field, and now The function that we need to use for filtering that sum that I showed you before, you see that the syntax is here. When you use the function of calculate, then you can use still that sum function that we used before, which is giving us the sum of the sales quantity. Now it's the same as the total quantity that we had before, but now we can have a filter. Then what we can do for the filter is simply having the name of the state. Then I can say that the state from the table, say that cells now we have this what was the field? We want to have this state. Okay, then we will have a state. Now it seems that I didn't close this. Now that should be fine. I mean that always you can follow the guidance for the syntax to ensure that you don't type anything wrong. Now if I just have a state, or I can start with the name of the table, the cells, and then find a state. Here from cells table, that's it. Now what I need to say that this one should be equal to let me just use this Western Australia here. Basically what it does is calculate the sum of the quantity from the cells table with the condition that the state is going to be Western Australia. Basically it simply finds only those quantities, or just adds the quantities that the cells state is Western Australia. Here we have some of them. Yeah, then it chooses all and gives us the total. And now if I enter here, now I created this measure, then I can just simply do what I did for the total and the target. Now if I drag this one here, because it should have been behind the map, and I will show you how we can change that. Again, we are going to do the same that what we did for total cells, and going to format, make the data label, change the color. Now in terms of the units, let's just, to make it similar to total cells and target, we can use it in thousands instead of 3000 something. We can have it in thousands, and now we have K here. Now the size looks to be a bit big for this map. We can reduce the size. And that's it. For category, as I said, we don't need it. Even we don't need to have a title or anything for this one. Just make it just as a simple number. And I can then drag it here. And if, for example, sometimes you have problem that it goes behind the map, then again, it's something similar to other Microsoft products that you can bring it in front, that always have this label in front of the map. And if I just click here, you see that I have 4K here. Now it's easy to create these, and I can just continue and do the rest. And to save time, I will just put the numbers here, and to make it easy, and you can just repeat the same process for Northern Territory, South Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and Tasmania. We don't have ACT here in this example, then we only use the rest. Now I have almost completed all except Victoria, and then I want to show you that if you have one state, then how we can do the rest easily. Let's say that this is for Tasmania. I want to create a new measure for Victoria. I just need to copy this one, click on new measure, and then simply change everything from Tasmania. This is the name of the measure. Then the condition or the filter is going to be Victoria. You see that? Then that's easy to create this measure. And again, because I changed the size and the format and the color of these, all these changes, I can make it easy by copy one of them. Let's say copy Tasmania here, and let me move it here first. Then I can remove. You see that there's a tick shows that this has been linked to Tasmania measure. Then I just simply remove this tick. It becomes a blank one, and then I can simply copy this new measure, which is Victoria, or just drag it to this box, and that's it. And then I can move it back here. You see, it's relatively easy and quick then to create this one. Now I have all these numbers on the map, and now the next stage is going to be basically adding this, which is showing the target, and it's a very interesting visualization tool, and especially when we have a target, then it does help us to have a better understanding of what's going on. And this is simply here, and it's call it gauge. I click on that, it goes there, and then it would be relatively again easy to have the total cells, and then it shows that what's the total cells. But the only thing that we need to consider for this one, we need to have the maximum number and also a target value. Let's say that I'm going to use this total target function for maximum value. Then it's going to be 73, and also I'm going to use the same for total target as well. Then as you can see now, it exactly shows that how much short we are from the target, and also the maximum and target here are the same, and which I will show you that why I need to make some adjustments here later. But before that, I want to then have this slicer, then which is going to help us to know what would be the target for each state. Now I'm going to choose this state here. Now basically I expect that when I click on any of these ones, then this one be updated. But let me see that, you see what's happening is when I click on this, everything is changing, Now let me compare it with what I have created here. You see that when I just click on states here, things are a bit different. I want to show you how we can make it like this. The good thing of this one is you see that this map is not going to change, because whenever that you want to compare the target for each state, you also want to have a bigger picture in front of you as well. Then you don't want this one to change. And then I want to show you that how we can keep some of the items fixed like this, and then change the rest like this. And also the difference here is this also maximum is fixed, you know, that it is the total target. I want to have this one as a fixed number, which doesn't change. But as you can see that in this one, not only I can see the share of each state to receive the total target or to achieve the total target, but also I can see that what's the target for that particular state that I have chosen as well. Let's say for Victoria, the target is 20,000 and I'm 26. And also I can have a good picture of what's the share of Victoria for the total target as well. And you can see it for the other states. Let's say that for South Australia, you know that you see that I'm not meeting the target, and also even the share of South Australia in terms of total target is not huge. Then that's something that I want to show you, that how we can create in our file. The first thing is removing the link between these numbers and also this filter. As you can see, then when I just filter each state, then the rest becomes blank except the one that I have, unless I remove everything. I just remove the filter totally. Then that has an easy solution. I'm going to format when I choose this slicer and just click on edit interaction, and simply when I have edit interaction I can simply remove the link by clicking on this circle, which removes the interaction of this filter with the other figures. Now if I do it only for one, you can see what happens first. Let's say that I choose this state. As you can see, the target does change, but the total didn't. Now means that I can just do this for all of them, and any item that I have, I can simply delink it from this, and ensure that when I change it, like this now, if I now change this state, you see that the target and the total cells don't change. Then to remove the link of these basically small labels, the problem is you can see that circle. To be able to remove that link, I might need to make it a bit bigger. Now I just made it bigger, then it would be visible now, you see. Then I can simply click on this and fix this, and then you can simply do the rest and make it smaller. If I click on this, still you can see that I don't see this circle, but you don't need to be worried, just make it a bit bigger and then click on this again. Now you see that the circle does exist, and then you remove the link and make the size smaller. Then you can repeat the same for the rest. Now I removed all links, and now you see that when I just simply click on any of these states, nothing is changing about total sales targets and these numbers that I have for each state. Then I can just simply click on this to remove those filters from the map, and you see that now nothing is changing except this one. Now what I want to do is showing you that how we can fix this number and also make this one movable as a target for each state. Now basically we fix this. Now we are going to fix this number. Now then, to change this maximum to this target, the challenge is, as you can see, we are using the same fields, and the problem is it works for the total cells when we have no filter. Then that's fine. Your maximum and the target are 73, and then everything works perfectly. When I change it to a particular state, you see that I can't just get the maximum of 73 because everything is going to be filtered accordingly. Then it's not going to help. And as you can see that these two fields are the same. Then how can I fix this problem? The one solution that I can show you, it might not be a perfect solution, but it's an easy solution, is going to your Excel file and then have the sum of these total targets as 73,000. Then this one should be the state. Then this maximum basically is the summation of these numbers. Yep, I just simply use the sum function. Now I have 73,000 as a fixed number. Now what I can do, if I just close this and basically going to here and try to import, you go to tables, and then what we need to do is import the same, import that new table to our data set, or you could have done it from the beginning, then that was easy, or you could just create a new table. But as I want to have it to be dynamic and linked to my data set, then instead of doing or creating a new table, I'm just going to link it again to my Excel file. And then if you go here to the model and try to get the data from the Excel file, and the issue is you need to close your Excel file always when you want to import it. Now I'm choosing my sales data. And because I already have selected them other tables before, just choose this max target, which is simply a summation, but it's linked to my data set. Then if my data set does change, then everything will be updated automatically. Then I don't need to be worried about that. Everything now is going to be updated. Now if I go back to my report, what I can do now is finding that number here, which is this max target, and instead of this maximum, I can use this fixed number here. Because I didn't choose a name, it's just says column 1, which is fine. Yep, now it doesn't matter which state or territory I'm going to choose. As you can see that the maximum doesn't change, but when I change my state name, then you can see that yeah, everything is changing. The target is changing, the maximum doesn't change, and yeah, the target is moving according to the state. And then in this page, the good thing is I can have an overview of what's happening in Australia in total, overall view of what's happening, as well as seeing what's happening in each stage in terms of achieving the target, and it's going to be interactive. Basically, this page is a combination of having interactive basically um, gadgets and then a static one. By static, I mean if you change your data in your Excel file, everything will be updated. Then we have a refresh here. Then if you just change data here, this refresh option allows you to have the new data and everything will be updated accordingly. But at least this bit is not going to be affected by filtering, which is sometimes is important to keep this one in front of you as some overall view of the total sales in this example, or depending on your data set, overall view of your data. Now, yeah, that's about page 2. Maybe the last thing that would be good to add to this is changing the color of the target. And if we go to format, then we have data colors. Then this is going to, because now the target is very similar to the color of blue, then I will just change it to pink, the same as this target. And then they would be, now it's much better now. When you have the pink color, you know that it's about the targets. We have it pink here. This total target also is pink. Now, yeah, this is page 2, and now we can create what we have in page 3. Page 3 is relatively simple, and what we need to do is simply having what we had in our page 1, and simply having the month, and then we have different states as well as quantity. Then again, we can drag what we want. The first thing is the date. Again, let me just remove everything except month to have it monthly, and then I need to have the quantity, and then we are going to have a states as well. Then you can see that it's relatively simple and straightforward to create this. And one of the great things about Power BI, that creating the report, it would be as easy as dragging and dropping the items to your chart, which makes it so simple and easy. And also for page 4, I will show you that how we create profit, which is we are going to link the cost to price. This page 4 is interesting because it can help you to understand the link between the tables, because profit is going to be basically the difference between your revenue and cost. And we have revenue in one table, which is our sales table. Basically, this is going to be your unit price, and you have the unit cost here in this table. Then the difference between unit price and unit cost multiplied by the quantity gives you the profit. But basically there is this link, that we know that the product from this table is linked to product from this table. Now we can, if we go to an Excel file, possibly one of the ways to do this is like saying this quantity this price, which is 40, minus, then I had the cost from this table 30 for residential lot, then multiply it by then quantity, which is 15. You know that I needed to just do this one for the rest, and I can just use VLOOKUP to basically find whether I need to choose 30 or 60 in Microsoft Excel. But Power BI can do this one even much easier by using the link between these two tables, and we don't need to use VLOOKUP function even, but it will be something similar. Now let's just go and see how we can do it in our data set. I create page 4, And then what I need to do, I need to create a new measure. I go to new measure. Let's call it profit. Then this profit is going to be, well, what's important is what we were doing before using sum function, which was the summation for a column. Then I showed you for total quantity, but here we use a function called SUMX, which is sum of expressions. And let me just make this one bigger. And you need to just choose a table name first, and I know that I want to choose first unit price from sales table, then deduct that from unit cost and then multiply it by the quantity. But the cost is from my cost table, not sales table. But for here, then let me just have the price. I think that it was unit price. Yep, that's unit price. Okay, this is the unit price that I want to deduct cost from it. But the problem is cost doesn't belong to this table. Then what should I do? But because I know that there is a link between this sales table and also my cost table, I can use a function called related. And basically I'm saying that I want to have something from another table, which is going to be cost in this example. Then I have unit price from sales, and then related. When I just type related, it gives me the only options I have because they are only they have only these links to my sales table. And then as you can see that I have the cost here, which is basically unit cost. And if I choose this, now what I have done by writing this, I am finding the difference between sales price and unit cost. Now it shows the profit per unit. And then if you simply, let me just have another bracket. If now this difference be multiplied by the quantity from sales table, now I will have the total profit for each sales that I'm going to have. Now, if I go back here, now I have created this new measure, which I call it profit. And simply, if I choose this profit here and change it to a number, let's say, you see that it's easily calculated. Now, what's important about this profit is basically it's like having, or that function is like having the profit for all these rows, you know, and then it's different from sum function. Then sum x is different. Then hopefully now you remember that we have used now 3 different functions of sum x, this one which I showed you, and also we used calculate for filter, you know, that then you have learned 3 very important functions here. Now if you have this, now we have almost this number from our sample, you know, that we have the same. Now if I want to create again something like this tree chart, I will go back here. And it's relatively easy. You have the composition tree, which I add to my page. Let me just make it bigger. Now I know that I need profit to be decomposed to different months, or even before I just show you what's here, which is basically monthly profit, I want to just show you something even different. Let's say I wanted to decompose this one to profit for each state. then you can simply choose a state as well, and that's it. And if I just click on this low value, then yeah, I have a 3 here. That shows that this total profit, how much of that belongs to which state, then basically you can simply compare the profit that you make from each state. Now if I want to change it from a state to let's say date or month, which we have in our original example, I just simply remove it from this explained by, and then I choose order date, and I can remove year, day, just keep it as a month, and that's it. And then if I click on this, I want to see it in month. Yep, that's it. Now I have monthly profit. As you can see here, possibly July has been the highest year. Then that's it. As you can see that we can easily create page 4 as well. Now the last thing is how we can share what we have created, and of course we need to save it first, and if I save this one and give it a name, I will call it again sales data, then that's a file that has a extension of PBIX, and then you simply can share this data with whoever you want. And also in terms of updating the data, that if you refresh the page, then you have the updated data, of course, if you change anything in your Excel file. But what's important is using all capabilities of Power BI, because it doesn't supposed to be shared that way. Then the way that it should be shared, or it's to take advantage of all possibilities or features that we have in Power BI, to do it online. Then this is the desktop version. If you just do it, if you publish it, it will be published in an online space, in your workspace. It might take a few seconds. I choose my workspace here, then it's now going to be created. Now it's here, now it's done, and now you can see the reports in a web page. Yep, then all I have created is here now. What's important is now how we can share this one. First, we need to create a dashboard, and now we have the pages here, but if you don't have the professional version, then you might not be able to share it this way. But what can be done easily, going to my workspace, and this is a report, and if I just go and show you here, this sales data that I created is a report. And then what I need to do is create a dashboard, and let me just remove even this one, create a dashboard, and then show you that how we can simply share this sales data. Now if I click again, you see that I have page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4. Now I can just find some elements of these pages that I want to share, and then put them in a dashboard, and then whoever wants to open them, if they click, then they will go to the relevant page. Let's say that I want to use this important element from this page, and I'm going to pin this visual to the dashboard. I can create a new dashboard. I call it again the same, sales data. Yeah, I want to go to dashboard. Yep, then now this graph has been created. I can just adjust it, and then I can go back and then add other elements to this dashboard. If I go back to my workspace, to the report, I might just think of adding, let's say this pie chart looks to be also an important basically object that I want to share. Then I'm going to share this one as well. Yep, or even I can just make this one smaller. And then I'm going to choose some other items from page 2. Even if you click on any of these objectives that you have created, you will go to the page that they are there. And here, for example, I want to just share the total sales and target as well. I'll just put them in my dashboard again, because I have already created that. Just use the existing. Yeah, you see that that's just a number. And if I go back and add the target also, just pin it here. Now let's just, and also you can play with the size of all, and then even profit, and maybe even this one also. I'm going to create, which is going below the rest. And if I go back to here, page 4, maybe having this profit as well. I can go to the dashboard and have the profit. Or maybe if you want to just make it a bit different, let's say that this is total sales, this is your target, profit. Maybe now things looks to be better. And then you can then share this page, and whoever wants to see more details, they can simply click on sales and then see what's happening. And if you want to share then this dashboard that you created, now it's possible to share it this way, and you can grant access to email address, but also whoever is going to have this link also can use it. Then you can simply copy and paste this link and send it to whoever you want to have access to this dashboard. Thank you for watching this introductory video about Power BI using an example. Of course, in one eye, it's not possible to cover much more, but I'm sure that you have learned a bit about Power BI, its capabilities, that also see whether you like to explore more. And one of the easy things to find even some of the features relatively easily is trying them, because as I showed you, some of these reports can be generated by dragging and dropping, I don't know, different fields or measures to a tool that you have here. For example, now we have this trend chart, but you can simply change it to, let's say, a table and see your data in a list like this, or even adding new variables and see how things go. But anyway, thank you for your time, and hope that this video has been useful to learn a bit about Power BI.